forward. All right, so what we were looking at here for the Dixie, price had broken beneath that level, and also our mini trend line, and eventually we'll get down to our alpha trend line. But if you look here, will you get me my laptop cooler? Thank you. At our lows here, we've got some pretty significant divergence. So price is making a low, lower low, lower low. It did it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and all 4 times we had a high or a low, higher low, higher low, higher low. This thing is primed to go up, which is perfect because we got to go up and test the underside of this level, and also possibly our trend line, but at least one of those has to happen. My money's on it touching this, and then we're going to go test the alpha trend. So with the federal interest rate decision, I don't know if anyone's ever covered a whole lot about it, but anything that's makes money harder to access. So with interest rates going up, it's more expensive to use the dollar. It's more expensive to take out loans. Your interest rates are higher for your credit cards, or any and everything that you do. It's more expensive to use the dollar. And when that happens, it causes a lot of bullish momentum for the dollar because it's strength. And I read a lot of stuff once they bumped it the second time, and the Feds anticipate holding the interest rates as high as they're going to pump it at the end of this year, all through 2023, which is going to cause a lot of bullish momentum for the US dollar all of next year, which should, the main reason I was trying to keep up with that is, I like crypto, and I'm trying to, find the best time to really start buying back in. And, if that's the case, all of your asset classes, like your cryptos, your indices, your commodities like oil, and your precious metals like gold, silver, all of those are going to start going down. So with the interest rate hike coming out, I mean, we're with all the divergence, we're layering the fundamentals with our technical analysis here. So the technicals tell us that we should see a retracement to this level. The fundamentals of the interest rate coming out, at a higher level than what it is a really awesome way to add additional confluence to what we're looking at there. And, that's only if it gets to 4.5. If it gets any higher, if they only bring it to 4.1, that's still going to cause that bullish momentum because, again, it makes it harder to access the dollar. It's more expensive to use the dollar. So, if they bump it to 4.75, it's going to be insane. Like over the course of 2 weeks, you'll see movements that we haven't seen in forever. So, and I don't know if you guys have been watching, but, like once every 2 or 3 months, you see candles like, UJ is actually, I think it's this candle right here. Yeah. You see candles like this. It doesn't look like that dramatic, but if we go to like the 1 hour, and again, it doesn't look like that much of a drop, but in respect to the normal candles for UJ, that thing tanked over the course of 3 hours, 480 pips. UJ never moves that much. So those are the type of moves that happen when interest rate decisions come out like that for any currency pair. And then on top of that, we have FOMC. And then on Thursday, we have all the MOMs, MONs, where are they at? Oh yeah, here, all up in here. So, I mean, it's going to be a very, very volatile week. So, it's safe to dial back your risk, and just be patient, layer confluences, and wait for things to set up. But that's kind of my overall take on the Dixie for right now. What happened to all my drawings? Oh, I'm on the 1 hour. Ha ha ha. Okay. So yeah, that's the Dixie analysis. Any questions on the Dixie analysis? Perfect. We'll roll right into UJ. So I'm going to say it and say it again, over and over and over again, because it's really important that you understand it. When we're looking at the Dixie, we kind of use that as our bias towards the rest of our other pairs, right? So any pair with USD at the front, we're going to have a bullish bias too. And any pair with USD at the end, we're going to have a bearish bias too. So if we move on to UJ, UJ is in the same exact spot as the US dollar. We've got two really nice legs of divergence off of our major level. And price also broke our trend and our support level. So it only makes sense that price would reach its way up here and retest our trend line and also our level of resistance before it continues short, which is a huge move, that may take a week to 2 weeks. That's 700 pips. So we're going to have a ton of buy entries on that move up, and then we'll be able to start shorting too whenever that comes. EU, so we're going to have a bearish bias too, which if you looked at the book, Let's Talk About Patterns, or if you really paid attention in the patterns section of the Forex Foundations course, we have a rising wedge, which in this case is a reversal pattern, where our highs are not getting dramatically higher. They're just, kind of stair-stepping up. But then our lows are getting radically higher. So it creates a very steep line on the bottom, but a not so steep line on the top. In addition to that pattern, we also have a lot of divergence. The whole time this has been pushing up, our volume has been dying out. So again, this thing is also primed for a good short, which makes sense because if we're long on the dollar, any pair with USD at the end of it, we're going to be looking for some short opportunities. So, that's looking juicy for some shorts. Again, it may take, a couple days for it to really break out of there, retest the underside, and start making its way down. But again, we're viewing the daily, but it's looking real nice for a short. For odd U, called this trade 2 weeks ago, before I left for the trip, and it finally broke out of our channel. If anyone took it, you're still in this trade, still in profit, because it hasn't it never triggered to take profit, and it's however many pips that is in profit still. It's going to take a little while. So that's what 201 pips that it's currently up. Put that back here. And then Jamal and I were just looking at it, and we were looking at the weekly on that, right? Yeah, there it is.
Yes, we were.
Let me first zoom out and point out the structure, and then we'll come back.
Super strong structure that it just broke.
Yeah. So this level here, price bounced, broke through, rejected. We got nice divergence on our lows here. Price. Oh yeah, I had that drawn up too. That's funny. And then price made a big bullish run. We ended up breaking outside of our overall trend that we've been trending on for, what is that? That's on March of 2020. So we've been trending down that whole entire time. We finally got outside of that area. We've broken our previous high, which is this area here. So we have our choke. And then price has rejected this level many times. So we're back up on top of that. We're showing some good signs of support. And then if we dial back down to our daily chart, we've got this really nice, beautiful channel that price has been ranging in, also respecting this level of support. We got a nice, strong breakout of it, and it's in the process of retesting. This could be the retest, and it may just go ahead and pump. That's why I have a position tool here. But I could easily see maybe it pushing up just a little bit. Oh, wrong arrow. Actually, I'm going to go back to the weekly and point that out, Jamal. because we've got this really big wick right here. We
Right.
could see price fill that wick a little bit and then start coming back down. Or it's going to pump down, throw a wick through the top of our channel, test this support again, and then we're really going to start going long.
Which is more, that's more in line with what I think should happen because of price action breaking that level.
Yeah,
And the Stoch is pretty high up.
yeah,
It's pretty overbought. So I could see them throwing that wick down there, like you said, and then it'd be bullish. But price action has me super bullish for the long term.
yeah,
Obviously, we're looking at a weekly time frame, but it's at a really important level.
yeah, major. And like yeah, again, like you said, the our volume is starting to it's pretty high up right now. We're starting to crowd back down and get down. So if it does throw that wick down there, that'll pull us real far up into here, which will give us plenty of room for volume to make its next leg up without creating divergence. Um, so if we look here, we've got this level right here. Let me just drop a line on that so it's a little clearer. So this is like a really, a key level. It's not as major as our weekly support level that we just broke, but if you see here, price threw a wick on it, rejected it, rejected it, rejected it, rejected it, rejected it a bunch, rejected it, broke beneath, barely closed back over, rejected, rejected. This is a pretty key level here. And price has broken our channel, and it's headed for the retest, but it hasn't retested the channel or that level. So I could easily see it coming back down somewhere in this area, maybe even testing that level of support again before we see our bullish run up. So that's what I'm going to keep my eye out on for EOD. So then we'll move to, let me put that back here. For GJ, I don't really like GJ at all. It's just in a nasty area. I've said that for the last like 4 Sundays. It it's just ranging. It's not really going anywhere right now. I mean, for the last, what is that? April. It's just been whipsawing back and forth. We don't really have a good, clear direction on trend and which direction that's going to go. If we go down to the 4 hour, again, I'm not saying we're not going to have any setups and we won't call signals on it. But from our top down analysis, starting from the daily or weekly and going down, it's just in a really weird spot. So, we'll call trades on GJ very frivolously, just because it's just not really looking that great. We'll move to GU on the daily. GU again. So it's USD is the pair at the end, or the currency at the end. So we're going to have a bearish bias too, which makes perfect sense because price has broken our major levels, retested them, pushed back down, made a lower low, retested it again. So we're literally seeing this exact same thing, just a little bit further over here, confirming some resistance there. And we've got some really nice divergence at the tops, just like we had divergence at the bottoms on the dollar. So price made, let's see, did it start back here? Yeah, technically. So we made a high, higher high, higher high, higher high. Volume made a high, lower high, lower high, lower high. And we'll stretch this up and just really exaggerate it. Volume is just about to come back underneath the shadow area. So it's again, we've got a lot of things telling us that this is about to go short. And when those interest rates get raised on Wednesday, again, that's just going to be another catalyst to back up our analysis to see this go short. So that's GU, US 30. Again, it's the same situation here. What time frame were we looking at that on, Jamal?
I think we started on the daily with it.
What's on the day? Oh, I see, here it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
because that red trend line was like the super strong level it broke.
Yeah. So I think
We're
this,
saying like 550 or 618 retracement.
yeah. Um, so yeah, back in let's see, what is that? December of 2021, we've been, trending down for a very long time now. We finally got our breakout outside of that trend. But here's the thing with US 30, just because we broke this trend line, it loves doing its, fake moves. We did break that high, but just barely. That this high right here didn't quite do it. This one, um, oh, I almost when I say that's in here. No, it actually broke it. So yeah, this move right here broke above our previous high. But again, US 30 is the most manipulated instrument you can possibly trade. So I could easily see, like, one way or another, for sure, we have to come down and test this trend line. Price, broke that trend. It's never retested that trend line. So we're going to see that happen, but I could easily see them breaking through that trend line, retesting the underside of it, and then inevitably making a lower low.
Well,
Um,
take a look at the weekly. That kind of gives us more of a bearish bias as well, which aligns with the Dixie buying up.
yeah,
Right, like 2 weeks ago, we have a very little body with two wicks to the top and to the bottom side, showing a lot of indecision, not really wanting to know where it's going to go. And then look at that last weekly candle.
mhm,
Last week closed very bearish.
yeah,
So you could see a wick up there to, the middle of that body somewhere. But ultimately, I'm still pretty bearish based on how the last 2 weeks look.
yeah,
Indecisive and then a lot of bearish momentum.
yeah.
Obviously, on lower time frames, if you're looking to for an entry, wait for some sort of major structural change on a lower time frame, whether it be the 15-minute or an hour. But I'm pretty biased that direction. Looking at that last weekly candle.
100%, especially on the weekly, we engulf three candles. So this one candle outperformed the last 3 weeks of movement. So, I mean that speaks volume right there.
Right.
So
But don't be surprised if you see a wick to the top side and
yeah,
then like they're gonna liquidate.
yeah,
That's what they do.
because everyone on the planet is looking at that big fat candle that just ate all three of those. So everyone 100% is going to be looking for shorts. The large financial institutions, they're looking for shorts. They know that everyone is going to be looking for shorts. So like Jamal said, they could easily, without question, just shoot a wick way up here, liquidate everyone because you know retail traders, for the most part, they're probably going to set their stop loss like somewhere right at this candle. Or if they're not even looking at the weekly, let's go look at a realistic time frame. Most people are going to be looking at the 1 hour, 4 hour. We'll go look at the 4 hour.
If they're on the 1 hour, they're definitely getting stopped out.
A ton of people are probably going to set a stop loss above that right there or this engulfing candle. So somewhere in this area, so I could easily see, especially with that hammer close right there, them easily just shooting something up like crazy, liquidating everybody, and then making that next leg down.
Yeah, but
Um,
it
should
aligns
we go
with
back out to our daily
the
super
news as
long
well.
term? We're kind of looking for a retracement that Jamal was talking about down to the 618. So somewhere with the 50, 618, or 786, somewhere in this zone. But we're on the daily time frame. This is going to take weeks before it gets down
Right.
to this level, for it to actually go long. So short term, intermediate term, and pseudo long term, definitely short biased.
Yeah,
Um,
but like
but
Zach
in the
was
next
saying,
couple of weeks, if we start finding support somewhere in this range, we could see it climbing back out of that to make a higher high.
hey,
Any other pairs you want us to look at?
can you hear me, Zach?
We try to keep it to just a few select like good moving pairs, so we're not bouncing all over the place. But if there's ever a time where you want us to look at another
Hello?
pair that you're looking at or think has good setup on, make that known so we can help confirm your analysis, or if
Hello,
there's
hello, hello.
flaws in it, we can help you see what
Zach,
maybe is not looking
hey
at
Zach,
Jamal. I can't hear you right now. Did you just send that?
Yeah, I've been talking. Can you not hear me?
I can hear you,
Yeah,
Jamal. Can
I
you hear
can't hear
me?
you if you're
I can
speaking
hear
too much.
you, Roger. I can't
Uh,
hear Zach though.
but
Zach,
Roger or Quasi, do you
Zach,
guys have any
Yeah,
questions
I hear everybody.
about any pair that we
I hear
covered
Jamal,
or
I hear
other pairs
Zach.
you want us to cover?
Zach, I
Zach.
don't know if he can really hear people.
No, Zach can't hear me either. That's crazy.
Hey, can you hear me?
He can't hear us. It's got to be something with his audio.
We
Oh
can all
shit.
we can all hear Zach, but he can't hear us. I think.
Yeah, fuck, my bad, guys.
Jesus.
I pressed escape, and when I pressed escape, right next to that is my mute audio button. So I fucked up. My bad.
No, what I was going to say, back when we were looking at US 30, I was
Uh-huh.
trying to say this like 5 minutes ago.
My
Um,
bad.
this also correlates with what Zach was covering with the news, right? Again, the interest rate decision. If they raise that interest rate, which is really good for strengthening the dollar, things like US 30, it makes sense for it to fall in line with that bearish bias that we have,
Yeah,
right?
and
Because if Dixie's going to pump up, 30 is going to definitely come down.
yeah, and the I again, I don't really trade fundamentals. I'm never gonna call a trade because of a fundamental or anything like that, but I use them as an additional confluence. And it helps if you understand what certain news events cause based off of if it's higher or lower than what the expected amount is, and how that can impact. And if you guys have ever looked here on the economic calendar, just spend time in here. So, like, if we go, where is it? Oh, that's Thursday, Tuesday. So let's go to Wednesday. Where is? Damn, I'm blind. Where is it? No way. Oh, there it is. All right, cool. So you can always just click any of the news events, and you can get a generalized read on what it means, how it will impact it, what an overall scope on it is. But then you can actually go, they'll always provide a source. This is just a shorthand version of what the source will provide. So you can go to the Federal Reserve. You can, I mean, article after article after article in here, and just read and educate yourself on why this is the shorthand, why they have this in here. So you can do that on every single news event that happens. So not all of them are going to be important. Like anything that says low or medium, who cares? Doesn't matter. But any of them that say high, like this one's the Federal Press Conference, which is going to be in regards to the federal interest rate. So the federal interest rate decision comes out, and that could, it like, say they come out at 4.75. It's actually higher than what the consensus is. That's really good for the dollar, but nobody would be expecting that, and it is gonna cause a lot of harm to many other currencies. So it may actually go short really hard for a little while, and then when the press conference comes out, the statement of whoever's speaking can cause things to stabilize depending on their tonality during the speech, and then cause it to go long, like it was going to in the first place. So
And
um,
that's just where they liquidate you.
100%. That just using as an excuse to liquidate as
Mhm.
much as they can, clear everybody out, shake everyone loose out of their positions, and then move the money where it was going to go, like we all thought it was going to go. But if you're properly leveraged, nothing that could happen matters, because at most you're going to lose 1 to 3% of your account, and whoop de doo. You just wait for your next setup. So uh,
Zach, can I ask you a question?
fire away.
Uh, in the trading view, I typed in US 30 and there's like 9 of them. Which one am I supposed to be using?
Um, it doesn't really matter, and as long as you're not using one that's like US 30 cash. So I have US 30 in here. There's a ton of them. Just don't do any of the cash CFDs. So like this one here, US Wall Street 30 index, that's fine. Any of the others, it's just different ones. And the reason there's so many, and this will be the same on all instruments. So, the USD, JPY, Euro USD, there's always going to be a bunch of them, and they all come from different sources. And the only difference is the pricing is going to be slightly different from one source to a next because, Pepperstone's liquidity is provided by different liquidity providers than Capital.com's liquidity providers, different from Black Bull's liquidity providers, different from Currency.com's liquidity providers. So the pricing are going to be slightly different. So you'll see slightly different wicks and slightly different candles. So that's the only difference there, but it's still the same market, and structure will still be the same.
Makes sense. Thank you. Trading view is still really new to me, so I'm trying not to be an idiot looking at it. I want to get proficient with it because it's all I've been using this MetaTrader.
Yeah, and on MetaTrader, it's just one symbol, right? So US
Sure.
30 is just US 30. And the reason that is brokers will just use one liquidity pool. Like Carbon, for example, they use a pool of 200 liquidity providers, but they're all aggregating liquidity at the same prices. So that's why there's only one symbol. If they took on a separate liquidity pool, then they may have to do different symbols depending on how different the prices are being quoted from each liquidity pool.
Makes sense.
Yeah. You guys have any other questions? What about you, Quays? You're being awfully quiet over there.
I'm just observing. Nothing's popped out yet. Oh, what exactly is Dixie?
The DXY is the US dollar. So it's the official term for the dollar. Like everyone says the US dollar. That's not really the name for it. It's the Dixie. So it's like you know, the yen or the pound. It's the Dixie,
Gotcha.
is what the US dollar is called. I don't know why they don't use like DXY, JPY, or EUR, DXY. I don't really understand, but the Dixie is just the US dollar. And the reason we look at that one and not any of the others is because for right now, the US dollar is the global reserve currency. So all of the others don't really matter. Whatever the Dixie does will cause the others to fall in suit. So that's why we do a lot of our analysis based off of our bias to the Dixie.
So when you said the Dixie goes bullish, the US 30 will go bearish?
Correct, because it doesn't show it, but all asset classes are whatever the asset is versus the US dollar.
Right.
So technically, this should read US 30/USD, just like gold versus the dollar, or Bitcoin versus the dollar, NAS 100 versus the dollar. All asset classes are against the dollar. So if the dollar's bullish, because it's the second quote or second currency in the pair, then we'll have a bearish bias towards.
Do a screen share, show them like the correlation between like the Dixie versus a currency pair.
Oh, I haven't been sharing this whole time.
No, like a split screen. Sorry.
Oh, okay, my bad. I am sharing now, though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're sharing.
Yeah,
How long was I not sharing?
you were the whole time.
Always sharing. I meant to say split screen.
Okay, all right. Whew. All right, move this guy out of the way. I can't move it
The
there.
only thing you did was mute us. That's all you did, dude. Everything else been perfect.
Yeah, my bad.
No, it's all good.
I don't see that button on here.
It's that little square next to unnamed. Yeah.
Okay.
See, I gotta learn more.
This one's Dixie, so we'll go UJ with that one, and then I'll collapse this so we get a little more room. Both on the daily.
Wow.
So if you look at the dollar and then USD JPY, it's just been trending down. It's just been trending down. We scroll back a little bit. we had this crazy long trend up. We go over here to our dollar and zoom out the same way. It just had a crazy long trend up. So the reason that happens, like, again, you're never going to trade the Dixie. I don't even think that's possible. But we're going to trade UJ, which USD is the first currency in that pair. So if we look at the Dixie and the Dixie looks like it's going long, then anything which is, we covered this in like the first chapter of the course, but anything that comes out positive for the dollar, any pair that has USD in the first part of the quote is going to go bullish. Anything that's negative for the US dollar and has USD as the first currency in the pair is going to cause that chart to go bearish. And that works inversely. So if nothing happens for the dollar, but something positive happens for the Japanese yen, then we're going to see a bearish chart. Or if something negative comes out for the Japanese yen, we're going to see the chart go bullish.
Got it.
Mhm.
Yeah, do one more example of like, so Roger, see how the Dixie, which represents the dollar, any pair that has the dollar in front of it, like UCAD would be another major. It's going to do the same thing that Dixie's doing. But when you put the dollar at the second half of the pair, so here he's looking at euro dollar, it's going to be the inverse of what the Dixie is.
And it's literally almost identical, right? So we got a low, lower low, lower low. And if you, I don't know how to point at both at the same time, but see my crosshair here?
Yeah, it's the same on the bottom on the other side.
Exactly. So
Wow, that's crazy.
So we got a high with a lower high, but on our EU chart, we got a low with a higher low, and then a huge push. So we got a high, lower high, and a huge push.
Literally the same thing. And if you zoom out and look at it on a larger scale, again, it's going to be completely inverse of each other. But this is why it's really good to at least identify what the dollar is doing, because if the dollar is already doing something, you know pretty much what every other pair that has USD in it is going to do.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's so simple and it didn't click until just now.
Yeah,
I mean,
it really
so
does help.
simple. Yeah.
All
And like,
this,
look at US 30. Put US 30 on your euro chart. Right now, obviously, you can see that US 30 still has a mind of its own. It's still very whiplashy because, again, like Zach said, it's the most manipulated instrument you can trade. But overall, it's bearish, whereas the dollar overall is bullish. If you look at that overall trend. Now, the Dixie just broke that trend with a bearish run, and coincidentally, the inverse just happened with the dollar. It just had a strong bullish run.
yeah. And another thing to add into, this whiplash motion where it's not as clean as the dollar inversely is not just caused by the manipulation. You also have to take into consideration what US 30 is, right? So it's your 30 blue chip stocks. There's news coming out every single day for those 30 stocks. So there's going to be a lot more movement that happens with those versus a pair like Euro USD, because there's not anywhere close to the amount of news coming out for the euro as there is for our top 30 stocks in the US stock exchange.
Right. Like go ahead, my bad.
I would say it's not going to be as clean because there's so many more things that affect it.
Yeah, essentially what's different in these two pairs are the retracements. If you look at the Dixie, when it retraces back down, it's not as aggressive on those bearish retracements as the dollar or as US 30. When you look at US 30 and it makes its retracements long, they're much more aggressive, exactly for what Zach said, because let's say there's no news coming out that day for the dollar. Well, mind you, the pair is US 30 versus the dollar. So the 30 compiled top 30 companies, if good news comes out for them, That's good for US 30 as an instrument, which is why those bullish retracements are much more aggressive than the dollar's bearish retracements. Because if good news comes out for those companies, that's going to cause that instrument to buy up, regardless of what US 30 is doing, regardless of what the Dixie is doing, if there's no dollar news, if that makes sense.
100%.
Yeah.
But overall, they're the main trend of the two they're going to follow suit. What's another? Yeah, same thing for AU and NU. New Zealand dollar, Australian dollar, they're gonna be inverse of the Dixie, and then UJ and UCAD are gonna do exactly what the Dixie. Like pull up UCAD.
I will. Give me 1 second. I just wanted to also point out another one, right? So this one is a little more clear, gold. So, we've been trending up. We got our nice push down. We've been trending down. We got our nice push up. And again, it's just gold versus the dollar. Not barely any news comes out on
Right.
gold. The only thing that affects it is the demand for it, which doesn't fluctuate as much as US 30 has good news events happening for all those the top 30 blue chip stocks. So,
Right.
which one did you want me to look at?
UCAD. I was just curious. I'm willing to bet it's almost identical to the Dixie. Because the Canadian dollar has never been a super aggressive currency that moves, you know what I mean?
But it also is leading a lot of the times, which this is perfect. Same exact thing. We've had our, nice bullish run. We've had our pullback. We had our pullback. I hate when it does that.
This is actually a really good example to show them why you should use the Dixie. Now that I'm looking at it.
There you go. So same thing here. We had our bullish run up, our pullback. But this one has already actually started its push out, which
Right.
is, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, the comment that I just made, like, this is why it's good to kind of know what the Dixie is doing, because if you're just trading UCAD, and let's say you were never really used to identifying what the Dixie is doing, you may be thinking that it's just bouncing trend and it's going to continue long right here. But because I know what the Dixie just did, and we think that the Dixie is going to retest that overall, I still think UCAD is bearish.
Yep.
Right. But if you were just trading UCAD, you may, because there's a nice trend line right there on UCAD, you may be thinking bullish, bullish, bullish. But I still think that UCAD is going to be bearish because I think the dollar is just stronger than the Canadian dollar. So whatever the Dixie is going to do, UCAD is going to follow as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because if you zoom in here, a lot of people aren't going to look at that much of the chart. And that's a huge problem. And I would love it if you guys spent time not analyzing a few candles, like zoom out, stay zoomed out, look at the overall picture, and do your analysis that way, trade that way, because this is what the institutions are looking at. A lot of candles, a lot of price. Retail traders, oh my God, if it does that again. Okay. Retail traders, they're going to be super zoomed in and they're going to look at like 20 candles. They're going to look at this right here. Like, oh, it's trending down. It's trending down. Let me throw my Fibonacci retracement tool on here. Okay. Oh, we're at the 786. Let's sell. And then they get waxed and it ends up going all the way up here. So, just try to stay zoomed out. I'm not saying trade on candles or trade like this, but just get in the habit of looking at the overall picture of what price is doing, so you can interpret more data. The more data you can interpret, the better your analysis is going to be and the more sound your trade setups are going to be. Did I mute you guys again?
Nope. That's
Alright.
good stuff. No, it's perfect. I'm taking notes.
Cool. Any other things you guys want us to look at? Any just generalized questions you have?
The only questions I had was just the trading view, and I saw 20 different US 30s, and I didn't know what was what. And I meant to ask the other day when Jamal was doing the Zoom, and I forgot to ask. So no, that helped.
Cool. All right. Well, that's all I've got for our weekly overview. And then, just stay tuned for the signals. And in case you guys haven't already noticed yet, we typically trade for just a couple hours a day. So we're not going to be calling signals at 2 p.m. or anything like that. We get on the charts around 7:30. We do our analysis for the morning. And then, we'll call any signals that we see that are justifiable. And then 10:30, 11, somewhere in that span, we're off the charts because we've already taken our trades. We've either hit take profit, stop loss, or we're protected, and just let it play out.
I like it.
Cool.
I like it a lot.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys hopping on. Stay tuned for some signals, and then any questions you have about anything, throw that in Discord. If you guys are looking at a setup and want us to review it or see any part of it, give you some advice, anything like that, please just post your screenshots in there. The Discord community is your line of direct access to any type of mentorship required for you guys to be able to go and do this on your own.
I love it. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Awesome.
All right,
Well,
fellas.
let's kill it
Thanks.
this week.
Thanks, Jamal. Thanks, Zach.
Yep, let's fuck it up.
Appreciate it.
Hell yeah. See you guys
Yes.
later. Take care.
All right.
Have a good night.
Bye. You too.